We might get a new governance structure in college football. USC might not play Notre Dame anymore. What's going on with the Golden Gophers? All and more on today's Locked On Big Ten Squad.
You're talking ball with the Big Ten Squad, sponsored by Game Time. From USC to Ohio State, from Michigan to Oregon, from Nebraska to Washington, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming Big Ten weekend. No hurt feelings and thin skin allowed. Squad up, you're part of the Big Ten Squad.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome into this week's Locked On Big Ten Squad. I'm Spencer McLaughlin, your host. Roman Tomashaw of Locked On Huskies is here. Zach Seiko, Locked On Nittany Lions. Jacob Goins, Locked On Hoosiers. Zach Anderson-Yoxheimer of Locked On UCLA. Back after an extended absence, which no one's happy about, but we welcome him anyway. Jay Stevens, Locked On Buckeyes. Mark Colkin, the least happy of all that Zach has returned, of Locked On USC. So the report this week, big story in college football, that there could be this new NCAA that if you don't opt into the rules, which include but are not limited to, you can't sue this organization for any reason, basically, then you get kicked out of your conference. So we'll go in regular order here. Roman, I'll start with you. Who would you like to kick out of the Big Ten?
Rutgers, Maryland, some of these like bottom feeding teams. I'm not even going to go with the whole, Oregon route as neutral arbiter of college football that you are. This is just all a really, really interesting structure to me, where I see this report and I see, oh, cool, new governing body. Yeah, okay, let's see what this is about. And the more I just read into this, the more I'm like, how did we get worse than we were already at? Because I feel like there are some parts of this that are a really good idea. Then there are some parts of, oh yeah, you can't sue this organization, or just some of the different NIL rules that seem to be floating around as part of this, where I'm like, this still seems like very far from where we truly want to be as just college football as a whole.
Well, I wasn't asked to be the leader of this commission group, so we are indeed far away from where we all want to go. Seiko, do you like this idea, which hasn't actually been implemented and is partially contingent upon what happens with the House settlement, which we know what to expect, but we don't have a final conclusion on? Are we going in the right direction here?
Are we going in the right direction? Depends who you ask. If you ask the Big Ten and the SEC, this is awesome. This is amazing. If you ask anybody else, you're probably going to get a different answer. So I like seeing the NCAA crash and burn. That's kind of the boat that I'm in. So anything that ultimately ends the NCAA, but I don't know that we're going to get the best possible scenario as its replacement. So I might champion and cheer on, hey, the NCAA is coming to an end. This is something that I've been calling for a while. I think everybody has, because they haven't done a darn thing correct. But the solution might be even worse overall if we're trying to think about the group of 6 schools or other conferences that are not the Big Ten. So, and the SEC, it is what it is. It's just kind of the natural progression of college football being more professionalized. So this is the result that you're going to get. And so if you care about the student athlete, if you care about education, if you care about, in Penn State's case, they have 31 varsity sports. At some point, this bubble's going to burst where it's just college football, college men's basketball, and everybody's left to fend for themselves.
Goins, my mind goes to a famous history quote, which I want to quiz you on. I'm not going to quiz Mark because he was probably there. But do you know who said the famous line, democracy is the worst form of government, except for, of course, all the other ones?
No, but I feel like you're going to tell me.
Wait, does anybody else know this? Or am I the only history nerd in the chat?
I'm a history nerd, too.
I don't know who said it. I think you made it up.
I did not make it up.
Yeah, I think you made it up to fit your argument. Sounds
Mark, do you know this one?
Mark's Googling it. Don't ask him.
Mark uttered it. What are you talking about?
Probably did. Winston Churchill, anyway, is where. So that's kind of what I was thinking about when Seiko was eloquently talking about this, because that's kind of what it is. Like, the NCAA sucks, but then if we go away from the NCAA, it's like, oh, well, that doesn't necessarily look great.
Well, I think the whole idea is to not do what we did with the transfer portal and with NIL, which is let's hold off for as long as physically possible and then give in because we can't hold on any longer and just let it go buck wild. That's, I think, what we're trying to avoid is that type of a situation again. And so I'm in favor of, if it takes a little bit longer to polish out some of the kinks and get everything completely finalized that benefits the most, then I'm okay with it. Not that I want us to all be under the NCAA umbrella any longer because it's terrible, but we saw how those things went, and they're still trying to rope those things back in and get control over them. And so I don't know what the answer is, believe it or not. I don't know all of that, but you got to find a way to make it. And it's not going to be equal. I mean, look at Indiana, for example. If this whole super conference thing comes to a line, I mean, Indiana's not going to be a part of that because they're not the biggest football brand out there. But there has to be some ways to make it as fair as possible, I guess. But I just want it to be structured at the end of the day.
Yeah, by the way, optimistic look for you here, Jacob. Roman did not immediately eject your school from the conference. He went elsewhere first. Indiana.
I would get rid of Purdue to answer that question.
Oh, yeah.
We got that out there.
Gee, I wonder why. Zach, you may weigh in, good sir.
I mean, it seems like you give someone an inch, they take a mile. Every idea just somehow gets worse and worse. We're trying to fix it, and somehow we get nowhere closer to that in this situation. I think the answer is simple. I don't have an answer, but I just think it should be simpler than what we're trying to do. Super conference, do this, do that. Why are we working so hard? Just get everybody out of it. And at some point when we just have 10 schools to root for, then that's not going to be fun.
Yeah, and it's funny that Jay Stevens is next to you because the guy that connects your two schools in my brain is Chip Kelly, who's been banging a pretty reasonable drum, I think, for a long time, Jay, which is just take college football and make it separate from everything else. Put all the other sports, basketball included, back into the old conferences so you don't have Cal men's basketball going to play Florida State in a conference game and all this craziness, or USC going to Rutgers and all that sort of stuff. And then you organize football as its own sort of thing. I don't know that this necessarily moves us closer to that. It's just, it would be different, I guess.
It'd be different, and I wish we did get closer to what you just described because it feels like that's the best thing for everybody. For basketball, do your own thing. For football, go somewhere else. I feel like that's what you need to do. I like going away and trying to get some type of structure. I do enjoy that part. I don't think this is it. And I think it's going to take time, like many people have already said, to figure the right thing out. What you could easily do is just find a model you like that somebody's already done and then make that college football. Just mirror what's already been done.
The NFL.
I mean, it's not a crazy idea. It's not crazy at all. You don't have to do salary caps and all that stuff. It's going to be very similar. It will still not be the NFL brand of football. Like, NFL is still going to be king. But if you model it like the NFL and keep the academics part of it because these kids are still going to school, I think it's the best thing for everyone.
All right, Mark, the oldest and therefore wisest, we hope, among us. Give us some clarity on all of this craziness.
So typically when the NCAA tries to do something, they trip over their third leg. This is just another opportunity for them to trip. All it's going to take is for, and again, I'm just pulling, let's just say every program in this room right now said, you know what? We don't want to be a part of that. Let's just start our own league. That ends it right there. And it's going to happen. I mean, Tennessee tried to Tennessee challenged the whole, we can pay players whenever we want to start paying players. Look what's happened because of that. It's just going to take one team, two teams, anybody with cachet to say, you know what, we don't want to be a part of that.
Well, you would need a lot. You would need a lot of teams because you can't go out and form a league with 4 schools.
I don't know. Let's say 2 teams from the big conference, 2 teams from the SEC, Notre Dame. If they all say, you know what, let's go. Let's go do our thing.
But how many schools are we talking about here?
You saw what happened to the Pac-12, Spencer, when USC took their ball and left.
Yes.
Right?
Well, so, yeah, but if you were talking about making a completely separate like league and postseason structure, you got to have like at least 20 schools in there.
You would
have at least 20 schools.
That would be difficult.
That wouldn't be hard to get.
You think
But
that would be challenging?
With the way the media rights contracts are structured right now through the early 2030s, I don't think it would be super easy. No, I think after that, sure, anything could be on the table.
Well, no one said it would be easy. That wasn't part of the calculus we were talking about here. Anything that they do going forward isn't going to be easy. So why do you think it would be tough to get 20 to 30 teams to say, you know what, screw the NCAA. We don't need to be a part of that. Let's go form our own league. We're kind of talking about it anyways. So let's just jump the shark. Let's go.
Yeah. Once again, Mark has brought us back to the very important point we all need to recognize. USC ruined college football. That's the message we should all take away, is they were the first one through the wall, first guy through his bloodiest. That's USC, but they ruined the whole thing. And I actually am going to be in USC's camp, if you can believe it, when we come back. And Matt Rule said something oh, goodness gracious, please no. That's all coming up next. First, this episode brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. We're going to be talking about a FanDuel line later on this very program because we've been doing that one team per week over the last several weeks, and we'll continue doing it leading up to the season. Today's team, the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Why? Because P.J. Fleck is rowing the boat. And if you think he's rowing it to over 6.5 wins, you can go bet that over at FanDuel. If you think they're tanking and he might get fired, then you can go bet under 6.5. And you can get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet hits. That's why if you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. And if it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. You don't have to be good at math to know that's a really good deal. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, we're going to reverse our way back up here because, Mark, I have seen the suggestion that Notre Dame and USC might stop playing. And I have the same reaction I have to a lot of news stories in college football nowadays. Can we not have anything? What are we getting rid of next? Red River, the Iron Bowl? They're going to stop playing? Not that it's on the same level. Indiana, Purdue? Yeah. Is this just going to stop? Is Michigan, Ohio State going to be every other year? Cancel the battle for Los Angeles? Cancel the border war? Seiko, do you guys have any rivals?
No, that's whole Penn State's shtick is that Penn State's unrivaled. So I'm the last person to have in this conversation. I could care. I could care less.
Okay, good. Brandon, we can just kick him out of the chat for this segment. We'll bring him back. I'm kidding, of course, kind of. Anyway, Mark, I would very much like to see USC Notre Dame continue because I am legitimately tired of losing so many traditions and institutions in this sport. Like, a season without USC Notre Dame? What are we doing here?
Yeah, it's kind of stupid, isn't it? I agree, Spencer. Look
at that.
USC, there is, I hate tribalism, and there is literally two camps at USC.
Do you?
Right now. Yeah, I really do.
Okay.
That's another rabbit hole. Anyways, there are fans at USC who say, you know what, it's not fair. Notre Dame needs to join a conference. I respond back with, why now? Why is it so important when the big conference and the SEC is going to get 4 automatic qualifiers? And if you lose out of conference, it's not going to affect your opportunity. So who cares? Well, it's not fair that USC has to play Michigan and Notre Dame on back-to-back weeks. I don't care. To your point, Spencer, there is so much being taken away from college football. You've got to keep certain things. USC, Notre Dame, USC versus UCLA, Alabama, Auburn, Texas A&M, Texas, Oklahoma. Those things do not need to be taken away to move forward with the game. This whole thing, well, you got to get to the playoffs. You got to get to the playoffs. You don't need to take Notre Dame off USC's schedule to make that happen. No, there was a time when USC and Notre Dame played the end of the year, whether it was in LA or in South Bend, Indiana. And the fact that I have to play public defender and carry Notre Dame's water a little bit right now really bothers me. It was USC who asked Notre Dame, hey, you know what? We don't really want to play in South Bend the end of November. It's kind of cold. It sucks. We said, you know what? We'll play 2 rivalry games at the end of the year in LA. Notre Dame was happy to do that. I think this is just another step of USC, and I hate to say it, maybe even Lincoln Riley looking for the easiest way to get to the playoffs. And it happened. You know, there was a speculation that he wanted to get out of the game against LSU last year. We know he wanted to get out of the Ole Miss series. That happened. And now USC's 2 out-of-conference games at home this year. You get Missouri State and Georgia Southern. USC fans are not going to pay to see 3 out-of-conference games like that if you remove Notre Dame from the schedule. They're willing to pay and sit in 100 degrees end of August, beginning of September, to watch 2 crappy games, knowing Notre Dame is down the line. There's not one of USC's 11 national championships that they've won that they did not beat Notre Dame in that same season.
I just feel like if you are in the mindset of we need to not play a perennial playoff team, you're just not good enough yet. Like that's just not the way to go about it. Like Jay, if Ryan Day came out and said, I don't know, we should play the Michigan game every year. They keep beating us. Like Buckeye fans would say, no, you beat them. You play them. You just go out there and beat them.
They will say that, and then also you just get out of town. You don't have a job anymore because that's what we do. You play Michigan. Unfortunately, they've also lost 4 in a row. But this whole thing about Notre Dame and USC not playing, I understand the scheduling aspect to try to make your schedule easier to get into the playoff. I'm with Mark. Don't lose the tradition. I mean, that's why I fell in love with college football when I did, because of the tradition of the sport. And also, I mean, granted, I'm not a big SEC guy when I was younger, but having the SEC game in the afternoon, it allowed me to get more of the tradition of the South and why the football was so rich down there. But also, like, every school has that. Every school has tradition. Every school has things that make them special. Like this rivalry. Taking it away from the sport, from these 2 schools, I think it's dumb. But unfortunately, I think more schools are going to be going down the same path to take away and to cancel their biggest rival because they think, hey, if we cancel this game, we're going to have a clear path to the playoff. I think it's very stupid.
Well, that's the thing. You hit on it, though, and Mark said it, too, is the idea. It's not USC or Notre Dame that is at fault here. It's the system that we're playing in where I said it a couple of weeks ago and got yelled at. You're either in the playoff or you're not. They put major graphics of who's in. And if you're not in, you're out. And so all these major programs are having to make this decision of, okay, what's best for us in the future, the next 5-10 years, whatever the college football playoff looks like, and give ourselves the best chance to get in. Whether it's playing in Indiana State or if it's playing Notre Dame, you do what you got to do. And I don't agree with it. I think it sucks too, but it's the system, not the teams trying to get out of the games.
Yeah. I am with you there, Roman. Should we just go to a 40-team playoff like Matt Rule said? Is that the solution? Gosh,
Washington would be in every other year, Roman.
Right?
Hey, Jacob, that's still more often than Indiana. So that's really nice to say.
We've been there once in the new era. That's all I'm saying.
We need Ohio lawmakers to intervene, draft a bill and say enough of this. No flag planting, no games at 12 Eastern time.
Those guys are stupid. Those guys are so dumb.
Thank you, Jay.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna defend them real quick without knowing any of their names. Hold on.
No.
The flag planting thing is what my friend calls Charmin soft. Okay, like that's weak. The no noon kickoff thing. Ohio State plays an outsized percentage of their games at noon Eastern time.
You do.
And after seeing that environment at night in the playoff against Tennessee, I understand. You don't get to ban all of them. You're in the Big Ten. That's how your contract works. You got to play some. Like, I get that. But to play, Ohio State does not play enough night games. That's where I'm coming from. And I don't fault lawmakers that want to win favorability with their constituents who obviously care about college football by going out and saying, hey, we want to give you a night game so that you don't have to start drinking at 9 in the morning.
Oh, that's
I mean, they
never-
still might do that. It's just all day.
Yeah, that's very
Well, yeah, but look at the other side of that coin. Now you're preventing people from drinking all day for a 5 o'clock game. Look at what they're doing to the good people of Ohio.
Good.
I don't know if any of you have ever experienced Heinegate back in its heyday.
Experience. I'm sorry. What?
That sounded like it's from the 1840s.
Hey, do you want to explain what Heinegate is?
Let's keep it clean here, Mark.
There are beer cans stacked up, empty beer cans just stacked up all over the road.
So that's like an abbreviation for Heineken. Okay.
It's just
I had no idea where you were going with that one, Mark. I thought we were going off the rails.
There's a reason why they play their games early.
Well, but my thing is, like, do the lawmakers have, and I get the idea of appealing to your voters, sure, and not to get political at all, but like, we have nothing better to do. Nothing better to do than say, oh, ban noon football games at the shoe. Like, God, I don't know, man.
I don't know, man. Hey, we talk as a network all the time. Meet our audience where they're at. The people in Ohio are right there, man.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, hey, you do what you got to do.
Look, like here, if you were a fan of Ohio State and you see this bill get introduced and you do hate the excessive number of noon kickoffs, how much more favorably do you see every lawmaker that's stamping his or her name on? Yeah, I'm in favor of that. Like, I don't know. That kind of seems like one of the good things that a Congress could do nowadays. Is like, okay, we all agree. Like, it's a bit excessive. Anyway, Seiko, did you want to hop in on this?
I mean, I'd just be preaching in the choir, right? About rivalry games and tradition in college football. I will say this: I'm seeing the transition of age of all of us, because we are, for the most part, sorry, Mark, we are aging out of this version of college football that we knew, like, over the past couple of decades or so. And now we're becoming those old heads that say, like, the game's changing, because if we talk to somebody that, like, this is great, 12-team playoff, 16-team playoff, I get to see all my favorite schools, and now we're yelling at a cloud in the sky about how college football is.
All right, team of the day, got to take a stand one way or the other. 6.5 is the win total for the Golden Gophers of Minnesota, who are quietly the best mediocre team in the Big Ten every single year. Goins just remembered we're doing this, and he's calculating the wins in real time on his fingers, like 1, 2, 3. So, Jacob, what has your fast math told you about whether there's value on Minnesota over under 6.5?
Yeah, it was whether I could A, count to 6, and B, whether they could get over 6.5. And look, I mean, you've got trips to Oregon, Iowa, Ohio State, cross country to Cal. I mean, not that Cal's going to be any good, but it's, a weird game, and you never know. They don't have a good quarterback anymore because he plays in Indiana. But I mean, are we
running back?
Yeah. Oh, true. He's in the SEC now. Could we?
And Big Ten.
Yeah, in the Big Ten. Could we, I mean, what wins are we going to give Minnesota on this schedule? I mean, maybe at Northwestern, maybe Purdue.
I bet between Cal and Rutgers, they split. They'll win their first 2. Like, I bet they start 3-1 before obviously upsetting Ohio State and Columbus.
There's no chance that I bet on Minnesota to go over 6.5, because I think the P.J. Fleck thing is finally coming to an end. Give me the under, and it may be by multiple games. They won't even make a bowl game this year. Minnesota is not good. Their schedule is pretty tough for them. Give me under by a lot.
Give me the rowboat. We're rowing the boat. Okay.
Oh,
I think the schedule sets up nicely. Roman, you can take your stance. Over, under 6.5. I think their home slate has so many winnable games. The road slate is just, outside of Ohio State and Oregon, you got a Northwestern in there and Iowa, and that's it for conference road games. A lot of home games. I think PJ Fleck wins. They got better fan support than everybody thinks.
So since I'm stuck in the middle of you two, originally I was on Jacob's side, and I was like, oh, I don't, maybe this schedule isn't necessarily great. I'm not a huge fan of the talent that PJ Fleck's been able to accumulate. been able to do with it really over the course of his Minnesota career, which has just been underwhelming to say the least. But I look at the schedule and I don't necessarily hate the way it winds up. So give me the over here. I got 7 wins. You got a couple of former Huskies on the squad. You love to see that. But I look at this and I say, Northwestern, Rutgers, I think they do end up winning that game at Cal plus those first 2. So that means you got to win he's not here, so I can say this, win one of Michigan State, Nebraska, and that Purdue game. Yeah, I feel like there's certainly a logical road to 7 wins here for this team. It's going to be gross, and I don't think we're going to enjoy it, but I have a feeling that they're going to get there.
Jay, any worry about that potentially fateful day on October 4th in Columbus, Ohio?
Nah, not at all. I'm going barely over. When I look at their schedule, I have 5 definite wins, 4 definite losses, and 3 flip a coin games. And I think they're going to win 2 of those 3 flip a coin games. And maybe it's me trying to still ride the P.J. Fleck train, even though I know it's about to be going off the rails. But I'm still here trying to believe in the man and what he's doing there in Minnesota. I'm going barely over. I feel crazy saying that, but it's already out there. Can't take it back.
Jay, can you tell me Ohio State's all-time record against the Golden Gophers?
I'm not going to look it up. I know it's on Wikipedia. No, I can't. I can't do it. I don't know.
22-1. Just the one. That one came October 14th, 2000. In Columbus, mind you. In Columbus.
At the end of the John Cooper era, right before Jim Tressel came over from Youngstown State. Yeah, that was a weird time to be to be a Buckeye. Cooper
Boy, that was a nice. I loved that little history poll. That was good. Wow. That was great. Seiko, since Penn State doesn't have any rivals, maybe now's the time to start a rivalry with somebody. Like just get some juice out there. Minnesota, start throwing shade.
Minnesota would probably say that Penn State is a rival, honestly. I mean, they took him down to the wire last year, so I'm going to be very careful what I say about the Golden Gophers here because they almost upended Penn State's Final Four run there. There is a path. I agree. I think they are better than 8 of the teams that they're playing. They're going to start the season 4-0. It's that second half of the stretch where it's just an absolute it could turn into a bloodbath for them. I'm a big Darius Taylor fan. When people were talking about transfers and everything, I was like, wait, did I miss that they lost Darius Taylor? Because he is an SEC Big Ten. I mean, I know he's at Minnesota, but he could certainly have gone for an upgrade and started somewhere else and made maybe some more NIL money. But now that's the thing, though. He is the whole team. That's just it. So if he gets hurt, then this team is cooked in Minnesota. So I don't like their odds. I will take the under because with the way they utilize Darius Taylor, I can easily see him going down midway through the season, and then they have no answer after that. This is a run first and a run only team. So I will take the under, but not because it's just because they don't have the depth and everything proven after that.
Yoxheimer, you guys lost to Minnesota last year, right?
Yeah, I don't know where on the boring meter Minnesota is to Iowa, but
what a safe assumption on my part. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, they did. That's why I was like, am I going to come with the hot take that they're going to go under? No, they're going over. My highlight is on that November 22nd game when they play Northwestern on the road in Wrigley Field. That could be the game that gets them that 7th win.
The old Wrigley Field battle.
The old one-way football game still, right? Or is it now both ways?
No, it's both ways now.
It's both ways? Okay.
Boo.
Wait. The what?
You can only go one way because it was too dangerous with how they set up the field at Wrigley Field way back when. But now I think they probably fixed it.
That would be awesome.
It's still pretty dangerous, but they go both ways now.
Playing pickup football in my backyard growing up, we only went in one direction because on one side the yard sloped down, so that end zone wasn't very easy to throw into. Was it something like that?
Potentially, or it's just like Tecmo Bowl.
Nice. Or it was a wall that you were running into. Also, can we discuss the fact that Minnesota, Wisconsin on Saturday, November 29th will be a game between 2 teams who are both looking for brand new head coaches?
That's too hot. PJ Fleck's going to be okay, though.
Not when he goes under and has 4 wins and gets fired. And Wisconsin will have Luke Fickell out the door.
I'm sure no one wants to talk smack about Minnesota more than Mark, right? I mean, Minnesota was terrible last year, right? Awful. Just awful. Bad football team. Who lost to them, right?
So they have another player on the defensive side of the ball. His name's Coy Parrish. Remember that name?
He's really good. Yeah, he's really good.
He's
First round pick.
So, look, if Minnesota's going to go over 6.5, they're going to have to win every home game to have a chance to do that. And then you look at some of those road games, and you're like, which one are they going to get? So if Minnesota cannot win every home game, you got to go under, because winning on the road, and like everyone seems to agree, they're not a great team this year. They're not going to get that. They're not going to go over. Let me tell to everybody, playing at Cal is easy. It's not. Trust me. Going into
the calamony will or the calgorithm. The calgorithm will come for you. Yeah, calamony is what Zach has to deal with. Yeah.
Berkeley is a very, very weird place, and they will get up for an out of conference game, whether it's Minnesota or whomever.
I think that's a reasonable take. I think it's kind of feasible they do go unbeaten at home, though. I don't think that is crazy at all. And so between Iowa, Northwestern, and Cal, I mean, if they go 2-1, they could drop a home game. But yeah, I could see your scenario coming to fruition where
I'm just saying,
winner of that game gets to keep his job. I think it would have to be very specific. Like both teams would have to be 5-6, because I don't think either program's firing someone for going to a bowl game. But if Luke Fickell misses a bowl game for his second year in a row, he might be out the door, and the next offensive coordinator at the Ohio State University. We'll wrap the Big Ten squad.
Hold on, Spencer. One thing. Can I just add how fun it would be for 2 coaches in the last week of the season to actually compete for their jobs, where it's the winner gets to keep their job for another season? That would be a blast.
Well, see, this is why I want a relegation model in college football, because I want there to be games where you are playing to stay in the upper division. FCS, Group of 5, FBS. I want a game between last year's Purdue and who would it have been? Probably Florida State. And those teams play last week after a 13th game. The loser goes down to the Group of 5 the next season. Now we've got spice.
Millions of dollars on the line, and add.
That's what I'm saying. There's pressure. It would be tangible. And then you could have, who would have won that game?
Nobody. We all would have won.
Nobody wins.
Yeah.
We all lose.
Well, let's say Purdue probably.
Florida State.
I don't know. Purdue was pretty bad, man.
Purdue was pretty bad. I mean, FSU stunk, but man, Purdue was bad. Purdue was really, really bad.
Run the ball every single play on offense and beat Purdue. And I've seen that team before recently.
Yeah.
Wait, why did I miss, Mark, what game you were just referencing?
Michigan, Penn State.
It was 2 years ago. I was going through the 2024 schedule, and I was like, which game is he? Did he just dunk on USC? No, they threw it a little.
I was thinking about flying across the country and ending your season in overtime. That's what came to mind for me.
There's certain times you can run the ball every down, you're going to win the game.
Just throw the Tyler Ward on every play, and the same thing happens.
But again, I'm just saying, if those teams played a 13th game, winner stayed in the Power 4 conference, loser went down to the Group of 5, that's must-see TV for the worst football imaginable. We will cap it there today. Roman Tomashaw, Locked On Huskies. Jacob Goins, Locked On Hoosiers. Mark Colkin, Locked On USC. Zach Seiko, Locked On Nittany Lions. Zach Anderson, Yoxheimer, Locked On UCLA. Jay Stevens, Locked On Buckeyes. I'm Spencer McLaughlin, Locked On all over the place, of course. See you next time, and until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.